at about 12 p.m. That was yesterday, causing a disruption in operations and power generation. As a result, power supply has been affected. In some parts of the country. Emergency response team have been deployed to the site and are working around the clock to assess the situation and initiate immediate remedial actions. A full evaluation is currently underway to determine the extent of the impact and to enable technical teams to commence processes to restore normal operations as swiftly as possible. We wish to assure the public that our technical teams are actively working to manage the situation, and every effort is being made to stabilize the system and minimize disruptions. Further updates will be provided as more information becomes available, and we kindly urge the public to remain calm and assured that the situation is under control. And so that's the statement that was issued by Gridco yesterday.
So that's from a Ghana Grid company.
Yes.
We're joined on the line by the spokesperson for the Energy Ministry, Richmond Roxon. Thank you very much for your time. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I hope you're well.
I'm doing well, thank you. Except that you don't look for me.
Anyway, that's one for another day. But first, I want to start from the point of an update.
Okay.
What's the current situation with the substation?
So let me first confirm that indeed there was a major incident yesterday, which started around 2 p.m. A major fire incident, and it had to take a number of hours for the Ghana National Service to be able to put off the fire. And we were able to do that around 8 p.m. last night. So you can imagine the number of hours and then the damage that it caused. From the preliminary information we've been given, there's been significant damage to the transmission system, that's the substation. And so even yesterday, the engineers advised that we should shut down the other units to be able to protect personnel, protect the system itself, so that you don't have the fire ravaging to other areas. And so, yes, this morning, the Minister of Energy, Dr. John Inapo, people in there to get a first-hand briefing of what the situation is, and then the advice of the technical team, and then the government will take a decision. I know it's a significant incident, but I can assure the people of Ghana that the engineers have staff are very experienced, and so that we'll be able to restore the system back to normalcy. And not too distant future.
Now, explain to us what you mean by a significant incident in terms of impact. How much impact will it have?
Because you have to start out the other unit, what it means is that practically we lost the entire Kosovo when it comes to generation. Kosovo is about 20% of our power generation. As we speak, as a country, we do 70% thermal. We do about 28% hydro. Hydro is up to 1 point. And then we do renewables, as a solar, around 280 or around 300 megawatts. And so if you have about 1,000 megawatts lost, that is very significant, especially when your peak demand is around 4,400 megawatts. And so you would notice that yesterday part of our power went off, particularly that substation supplies Mala, Tanswa, part of Bokwasi, Abilekuma, part of Tema. Those areas were all lost yesterday as a result of this incident. And so it's significant, and we hope that we'll be able to restore that as soon as possible. But we'll get a first-hand briefing this morning when the minister gets there. The minister will be leaving any moment from now. As we speak, the CEOs for VRA and then Bitco are already on the ground. The director power for the ministry is also there. And so, together with the technical team, I'm sure that we can provide a comprehensive update when minister gets there.
So to understand what you're saying that as we speak now, all the power from the Akosombo Dam is not available.
Yes, because as way of precautionary measure, we had to put that off because you never know where the fire could extend to.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the places that have gone on, because those who suffered the outages, some are reporting that their power has been restored. What has happened with their situation?
So, like I mentioned, we do 70% of thermal, and then we do about 30% of hydro. And so, for the places that their power went up or were affected as a result of that line, some of them have been moved to alternative lines because power generation has not completely come to a halt. So, we moved to alternative lines. But there's still a deficit in generation. And what it means is that demand, depending on what the situation is, it's possible that some areas may be affected. And so those who have been restored is because we move them to alternative lines to ensure that they have power.
Oh, okay. So peak demand is in the evenings usually.
Yes, strangely for our country, in every developed country, demand is during the day because that's when industries, companies, offices are operating. But for us, our peak demand is between 6 and 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. That's when everybody's home. And so we are working on residential use as a country. And so in the evenings, our demand goes up significantly.
Okay, so it's possible. Is it okay? So per the briefing you have, is this something that can be dealt with today?
Oh, the briefing. Let's get there. And then once we get there, I'm sure that what the technical team will brief the minister would influence a lot of decisions. The minister himself will address the media right after the briefing, so I'm sure that he will provide some detail and then what needs to be done, depending on the briefing he gets.
But as we speak, the fire has been brought under the control. They've put it off completely.
Yes, they put off completely after several hours, approximately about 8 hours, from 2 p.m. to about 9 p.m. last night.
Is there any indications as to the cause of this fire outage?
No, it's too early to determine that. So I'm sure that minister will make a major announcement on that. And I don't want to preempt it, but be rest assured that there will be thorough investigations to unravel the cause of it.
Okay, so now that we have Akosombo off, are all the other generators working effectively?
Yes, the other plants are working. They're working, and so we expect, at least we don't expect any incidents there. We don't expect any issues unless of course these are machines, and all over the world I always say that wherever you are using a machine, there's a possibility of breakdown. Even in your studio, once you are using your mixer board, your microphones, these things are happening from time to time. But the other ones are operating very well, and we expect that power generation from that side will augment what we need now.
In the meantime, we're also seeing a statement from the ECG that they are doing a major work at Teshi Enclave. Is it part of the program that you're undertaking currently, with changing transformers among others?
ECG is moving to Teshi as part of the transformer replacement exercise that the government has launched. They've completed Lashibi, they've completed Adenta, they've done Akimota. Those are major power transformer systems. When we went to Lashibi, the one at Lashibi was installed 22 years ago. 22 years ago, what was the population of Lashibi? how many people live there, how many companies went there, how many apartments were there. If you go there, you can imagine the houses, the apartment district. And so demand has simply gone up. And so that's why it's important that we continue this exercise. And so please help us and then help us circulate the information. It's from 27th, 30th of this month. Maximum outage you can have at a point, maximum will be 6 hours. We've published a timetable, the areas that will be affected at which point in time. And so please help us so that all our compatriots will know that we are doing this exercise. Then once we finish, your power or your power stability will improve significantly. So please bear with us as we go through this process.
Aside that, you have no major challenges except this fire that you have to deal with immediately.
No, we don't. We don't.
So, so after doing that Delta one, I will read to you a message from Amadou Tahir Hassan. Please, he says,
Please repeat your question.
Yes, I'm saying I'm reading you a comment from Amadou Tahir Hassan.
That's fine.
Yes, please, ECG is killing us at the Mensang area. Every single day, morning, afternoon, evening, night, light off, on. So he's saying the light goes off and on. Sir, why? And no information is given. For some,
this information definition issue, I agree that we need to consistently put out the information because there are several announcements that we've made. But sometimes it may be difficult to get everyone at the same time. On Monday, the Pepenas held press conference and put out a detailed explanation of where ECG is now, where the challenges are, the challenges identified, and then what ECG is doing, the investment is making and all. And that conference specifically had issues on Accra East. Accra East will be communities around Lakeside, Fairman, Tamfa, Ayimensam, Royal issues. And then right here, and then he was very categorical that the ECG was going to inject transformers and also ensure that they are going to have a special program there because there's a challenge there, and so they will need some network reinforcement. This was part of the press conference, and specifically that was what was addressed by Executive. And if you have the tape of the press conference, I'll play that part, and I'm sure that will give customers some information. What I can assure you is that all the challenges, especially the peculiar major challenges, we are aware. We know what these problems are. ECG has done a comprehensive study of the system. NEDCO has done the same. This one to the direction of the minister. And we know the problems. We are addressing the problems one after the other. We are doing them, and we are addressing the issues in phases. You cannot do all of them at the same time. For example, even though we are installing over 3,000 transformers, you can't do all. So you have to phase them out bit by bit. And that's what we are doing. We'll move from one area to the other to ensure that we fix that issue. And so if you bear with us, we will get to this area soon. We will deal with the transformer challenge. And I'm sure that you have better supply of our one that is that.
thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us, Richmond.
Thank you, too. Thank you.
And of course, we'll be in touch with Richmond Roxon, who speaks for the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition on this matter. We'll also be following what the minister will be doing and what will come out of his inspection of the site of this. Like he said, it's a significant incident that has happened. It will have an impact on the provision of power, especially at peak hours. In our situation in Ghana, they said it's upside down. So in other parts of the world, it is during the day that they have peak electricity. They are the peak of electricity supply. In Ghana, it is during the night, the evening. So it says 6 to 10 when people are up watching TV. Everybody has gone to their homes. We have bought air conditioning. You have switched it on both the hall and the bedroom. Meanwhile, you are not in the bedroom. You are in the hall. you have switched on the one in your kitchen and everything. And that's one of the problems. In fact, I'll go and see Sister Ajwa and tell her that, Madam, you need to start this education again. Tell people that if you are not using the light, switch it off. Energy Commission, that we have to start this education again. If you are not using your light, switch it off so that you reserve power. You reserve power. The fact that you are paying for doesn't mean that you should use it anyhow. And yet by heart use it. We will not tolerate it by. In fact, very soon we'll start coming to your houses. If we see that you're not, we'll come and switch it off ourselves. Because the fact that you can pay doesn't mean you can act anyhow. You are overloading the thing. So please, if you are not using the light, if you are not in your bedroom, don't switch on the air conditioning in your bedroom. When you are in there, you switch it on. Okay? Bathroom light, when you finish using the bathroom light should go off. Yes. All of them. Kitchen. Switch all the lights off. Some of you are finished using the microwave, but the socket is on. Switch off the sockets. Anytime you finish using one, you switch it off. When your fridge has frozen everything, switch it off for some time. Because this matter, there's a lot. Because in the next few days, we'll need a lot of conservation to be able to keep up. If we do the right things, it will reduce the load on the transmission sector, also on the generation aspect. So we'll be able to get power to every home if there's not too much pressure on demand. So if the demand is not too high, supply will be able to beat that demand. So the problem we have this morning, let me just summarize what Richmond Roxon says. Richmond Roxon said you have heard that the substation for Gridco at Akosombo caught fire. The fire was so serious, they were only able to put it out 8 p.m. last night. That's why many parts, in fact, yesterday, but the entire Banana Inn was off. It affected Eric's area too. There were a few areas around here that were not affected, but parts of Malam others were all off until after 10. After 10, okay, at 2 a.m. Okay, but he says that after 10, the pressure goes down, so they are able to then move those who were on that line to other lines so that you can get power. So what we have is a shortage of 1,000 megawatts. 1,000 megawatts, because now they've switched off that whole substation that is responsible for transmitting the power from Akosombo Dam to the areas where they are needed. So that's the challenge we have, which means that there will be some outages to manage the situation until that is addressed. Okay, maybe I'm jumping ahead of myself. The energy minister will tell us exactly what the situation will be. But what we know is that we have a shortage of 1,000 megawatts of power. We need to move on to other issues. But before we do that,